Okay, so today we will begin with socio-political philosophy. Uh, Largely, there is no connection with whatever we have discussed till now. But if you happen to see the syllabus, right, you will see the terms like liberty, equality, sovereignty, then justice, Marxism, anarchism, Gandhi Ambedkar debate. They all will be familiar with what we study in general studies. In particular, the papers like Indian Polity, a bit like governance, definitely ethics, and to some extent Indian society. So, what is the demand here is just like in paper 2, this part B, philosophy of religion. I was telling like we need to feel the words. Feel the words means deism, pantheism, panentheism, and many things that we studied in paper 1 as an application we are dealing with in philosophy of religion, right? Except for, to some extent, except for that religious language, everything would seem too commonsensical and a complete application of paper 1. Even linguistic philosophy, religious language is also an application of that. But generally, people, don't like linguistic philosophy even to revise. But when it comes to exam, it can be delivered well. Okay, so here, if you are able to feel the words means understand the meaning of or different definitions of, nothing to mug up, definitions of, let's say, justice, liberty, sovereignty, Marxism, essential thoughts. Essential thought means there will be only some 3 or 4 thoughts associated with it. Everything can be developed on that basis. Okay. So the initial class, initial 1 or maximum 2 class, I will be touching what we are going to discuss in this as a summary. Because as we saw in philosophy of religion, I cannot separate out topic number 1 from topic number 3, topic number 4. They are interrelated. You might have felt it actually. In paper 1, we were able to separate that. Even though for learning purpose, I was trying for interlinkages, just for the teaching purpose, for understanding purpose. Else means a particular topic in paper 1 means it's, majority, 99%, it is restricted to that only. Occasionally, in some conclusions also, you can see these interlinkages. If you are going through some of the answer keys that we are posting, occasional interlinkages. Getting right, the demand I am saying, 1 means it's completely to that particular topic. If they are asking on Hume means largely you are going to write on Hume. You saw the a bit of shift in philosophy of religion. Suppose where there is a question on morality, religion and morality. Somehow it can be linked to the problem of mortality, incentivization, afterlife. As a dimension it may come. Okay, now when there is religion without God, it may have linkages with problem of this bondage and liberation, morality, religious experiences. Remembering, right, what I was saying, there will be interlinkages. So, interlinkages naturally will come between topics in philosophy of religion as well as socio-political philosophy. So, that's the reason why initially I will be familiarizing you with the whole syllabus, which I never did in those 3 parts actually. In Indian philosophy, right, we never discuss the syllabus. But here means I have to familiarize those steps, right? So simply equality, liberty, What is equality? There are many definitions for equality. See, don't say like we need equality or we need justice. Oh, paper nahi hai. We are understanding the terms and applying it. Equality means maybe I can say, there are different definitions. Equality means no person. If you consider the Indian Constitution, no person shall be discriminated only on the basis of so and so criteria. Equality before law. We can say equality means absence of some kind of privileges, irrational privileges, or you can say like equality, absence of privilege, or mm, there is no element of discrimination. In one case, it's like you say that everybody has got dignity, but I am going to give another person some privilege. You are standing in a queue, first come, first serve. That's equality. A person who is healthy otherwise, no issue with that. He can stand in the queue simply because he comes from a, say, royal family or maybe political family. Some people say that you don't stay in the queue, you can violate it. Privilege. You say that equality means absence of privilege. There. You'll say that we need equality. Why? Because there cannot be any kind of privilege. That's my definition of equality. Somebody will say. In the contrary, it's like everybody standing in the queue, one of them, right? Because of some discriminatory practice, let's say like untouchability. Say that except for you, everybody can, enter this room. Principle of equality is violated. Why? Because it's like some kind of irrational discrimination is there. Simply, no, equality means we can understand some kind of absence of privilege and also absence of discrimination. For the time being, don't think about, some cases it can be allowed, right? Even in the Indian Constitution itself, what is the philosophy behind is the idea of subsidy or the policy of reservation. Does it violate the principle of equality? See, the justification for that, it will be like, yeah, equity. It's like equal shall be, the principle will be equal shall be treated equally and unequal shall be treated unequally. If you treat unequals as equals, that amounts to inequality. Don't think that inequality, the idea of inequality will be always criticized. See, certain things you will understand, right, as we move ahead. This is the, base for it, familiarizing the words equality. So that also comes under the notion of equality, not treating equals equally and equals unequally. But naturally, the question comes like, should this much of subsidy be given? At least some people ask. From where does the subsidy come? Money for subsidy come? From the people's money only, right? Let's say a person, coming from a geographically isolated area who had no facilities for education in the childhood days, because of his willpower, hard work, and talent, became an entrepreneur. And that corporate tax is turning out to be subsidy for another person who had more facilities, more education, but because of lack of hard work or confidence, unable to achieve what is desired, is being given subsidy. He will think so. He will think, na, it's like this subsidy cannot be justified. This is the whole debate actually. Anyhow, I'll come to that. Basically, I was just saying everything can be put to debate. Equality, definitely we will agree, at least based on the constitution, no person shall be discriminated. Let's say on the basis of birth, no person shall be given undue privileges. Undue privileges. Right? Maybe while studying polity, maybe you will be recollecting, the Article 18. Article 18 means, on the basis of that, certain titles like Rai Bahadur during the colonial era, people have been given certain titles. Court felt they are discriminatory, but when you prefix something like Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, they are not the kind of privileges. They are the kind of the merit they acquired out of it. So anyhow, certain things are removed out for undue privileges, right? On the basis of birth, no privilege people will get. On the basis of birth, no person shall be discriminated. This doesn't prevent the state, the ruling system, by treating for giving affirmative action. Affirmative action means it's like treating equality, the idea of equality, the philosophy of equality doesn't prohibit, or is not against, doing away the historical injustices given to a person or a group of people, right? Equals equally, unequals unequally. Okay. What is liberty? Liberty means simply freedom. Simply freedom. Right? Our subject is about the interplay or the apparent conflict which is going to arise between these ideas from different perspectives. Simply I was showing that perspective. No? Subsidy, not everyone will, affirmative action, not everyone will recognize. They will have their own arguments for that. But for supporting affirmative action or subsidy, there will be there will be some kind of argument. Individuals have, philosophical systems have, ideologies have their own perspective in understanding, analyzing a problem. That since we are giving in the era of nationalism, nation, idea of nation, state. At present, the state is acting as or law is acting as the dominant force behind what is deciding what is right, what is wrong. Now that we need to admit. One way or the other, it is happening. So the states will decide. Okay. This can also be contested in ideas like anarchism. So liberty means freedom. Individual freedom, definitely. What is freedom? Are you free? Are you free? Socho. Are you having the freedom? Who is, if not so, who is restricting your freedom? Don't go to liberation. Don't go to ideas like liberty, liberation. Just telling now there is very less scope for interlinking paper one with, right, linking paper one with the socio-political philosophy. Don't think that I will link the idea of liberation into that. I will become innovative. Just think that कि मैंने भी तो सोचा होगा, right? Whether it is possible. Just think that. That is the reason why I am setting the limit. What is possible and not possible. You can उतना सोचो. Okay. See, as a learner, I also had a tendency. मतलब है कि जब कोई बोलता है ना, you cannot interlink means चलो मैं दिखाता हूँ interlink करके. That will be out of the box. Examiner won't be able to relate that actually. Okay. So yeah, freedom of thought, absence of oh, absence of restriction. Who is restricting your freedom? So we will take that. Absence of restriction. Freedom means restriction. State. Directly into the philosophy. Okay, state. Somebody else is society. Will you go into existentialism now? Don't go away. We'll get chance later. Society. Circumstances, yeah, definitely circumstances. That's true. Freedom means what? Absence of restriction. If there were no absence of restriction, आप क्या करोगे? That's also a question, right? After a particular age, some people tend to say that in my childhood days or in my youth, there were many restricting factors, say family, society, circumstances. अगर वो restriction नहीं होता है ना, मैं कुछ और बन जाता, right? Say, people say. So I am asking you now, right? Now you are in that phase, na? Formative phase. Will do anything. So it's like I will grab the opportunities. You will say that whatever opportunities are there with courage, I will make use of whatever talent I am having. I will work hard and make the best out of it. That also can be liberty. If you having liberty means good opportunity. Do you have the liberty, freedom on the basis of constitution? Do you have the liberty to become the chief minister of your state? I know many of you wouldn't have turned 25. After becoming 25, within 25, so you can become. Can become on the basis of liberty. But is it possible actually? Then why don't we try? यार ये प्रीलिम्स में बबल करने की क्या जरूरत है? You can try becoming the chief minister. Right, sir? You are given the freedom, right? And also, when you see the constitution, equality, मतलब है कि everybody is given liberty. Right to liberty is there. Right to freedom of speech and expression. There are reasonable restrictions, but we will be afraid of something. We will be afraid of perhaps the state or some group. कुछ भी हो सकता है ना? At times on paper, we will be having the liberty or freedom to do anything. But some kind of restriction will be there. Why the reservation policy is philosophically justified in Indian context, or affirmative actions are justified in the context? You see, liberty means freedom. If I define liberty, liberty means definitely it should be absence of restriction. Nobody should restrict you. Who is restricting? Maybe it's like the circumstance. Maybe you are from an area, geographical region where you cannot have that much of facilities for education, sports. The other person might be coming, was born there, born in a city where you are having ample opportunities or infrastructure, sab kuch hai. So in that formative phase, that person will be trained better. The other person won't be trained better. Let's say their dream is to become a sports person. They have the freedom to choose their career. Okay? Suppose a group of people is coming and telling like you shouldn't practice. कोई reason नहीं, you shouldn't practice here. ठीक है ना? Somebody is coming कुछ दादागिरी करते हैं. It's like you shouldn't do anything. You shouldn't practice here. State will support, no? Not the gunda. State will support you, no? State will make a law that you are having the liberty. उसको पकड़ के they will be arrested. Sure. This should happen. This should happen ideally. Ensure, the state will ensure that your freedom be realized. State will do to that extent, no issue. Or we expect that as well. State should do that. Right, in some countries, in some African countries, so for example, let's say Nigeria, many African countries are known for their wealth in energy, oil, gas. Suppose you are an engineer, you are going and or a management person going and working there, you are earning. Suddenly, some robberies there or dacoits are coming. You feel like, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. I made use of my freedom, but I am unable to save or my safeguard my possession. Definitely, who will guard actually? State. The ruling system should do that. No? We expect the ruling system. The ruling system should play the role of a kind of watchman, security personnel. No? Definitely, that role should be there. They should ensure the security. Fine. Well, how can state ensure security? It need police, weapons, court, military. Who will give the money? You'll ready that, okay, I am ready to give the money. You'll say that. For what? For ensuring security. Clear, no? Ensuring security. State shall ensure that I'll be free. This kind of undue restriction shouldn't be there. Suppose the state is creating a law that I have made this much of restriction. Suppose state is saying you gave only 10% for security. I need 20%, I need 30%. You will feel that it's not fair. You are restricting. You are restricting my freedom. Okay. And go back to that example. Let's say suppose the state is doing something of two sports persons. One in say city, another from a rural area where for generations it was not possible to have that much of infra out there. But that person has got the physique, has got the passion to get a international medal. Now, when it comes to a competition, let's say they are having a competition in the capital in Delhi. Let's say it's a running race. Okay? Likely, who is going to win? The person A who was in a city had more, chances. Suppose you are thinking like, so what could have been done actually? What could have been done? The state could have created, spend extra. And this here the situation is like, let's in a city at a cheaper price. Since there is competition, people can go and take go to gym, go to the playground. They train themselves. Other person, despite having passion and that physique, no facility. If you want to create facility there, you need to spend a lot. State can spend. State can spend. How can state spend? State can spend from the money taken from the people. Let's say the person, you know, the the person in the city comes from a family who are very rich. Of their hard work, no any unethical means. Let's say they are giving this much income tax and corporate tax. उसी से ही आएगा. With that money, they are creating the infra out there, and out of that money, the person in the rural area is training himself, is coming, taking part in the race, succeeding, इसको overtake कर लिया. Understanding ना? ये होता है कि what is freedom? Here, when you define freedom, there are two definitions broadly. When you define liberty as absence of restraint, definitely liberty is about absence of restraint, unnecessary restraint. No, unnecessary restraint from whom? Maybe theft, dacoit. Definitely, who will be ensuring liberty? Liberty should be ensured in this context by the state. We'll be discussing mostly from the context of state only. State has to ensure the liberty of people. How? By doing away with undue restrictions, unnecessary restrictions. Fine. What is this restriction? That itself is a matter of debate. You can see a lot of cases in Supreme Court. You know the fund. Even you might be knowing the right to freedom of speech and expression. It had the restrictions in the article. Sorry, the amendment one itself. Reasonable restrictions were brought in the Article 19. So everything, right to religion, it has got its own restrictions. Barring that, understand it philosophically. It's like absent, definitely, freedom means absence of restriction. There is no doubt in that. So simply by defining it as absence of restriction means state is playing the role of a, security officer. Let's say in the example of that running race. Let's say state is that authority, sports authority. What they need to ensure? When they are running, when people are running, ensure that they are running for the same time, same distance. ठीक है ना? In between, तो नहीं कि before the bell rings, किसी ने शुरू किया कि नहीं, they should take care. It should be fair competition, and also there can't be doping, stimulants. Nobody would have any stimulants. They are running. Somebody will succeed, somebody will fail. Means there cannot be any sort of corruption, fair competition, liberty. Those who advocate what we call as generally call as negative liberals, or in the modern sense libertarians, they would say that yeah, definitely there is no intervention, and at the same time I will interlink everything. So fair competition, they understand the absence of restriction means there won't be an unnecessary restriction. The role of state will be restricted to that. Nobody will get any kind of undue advantage. You have to run. That's who comes first, second, last. Right? Running race में ये होता है ना, if you are coming 10th means what should be our justification for it? I didn't do enough. Bas. It's not that the system is unfair. ऐसे कुछ नहीं. I could have trained myself better. The person who came first means next time okay, how to be. You'll be thinking like how to be first next time again, because these people will be adapting. Nobody is going to restrict them. They are free to develop their capacities, train themselves. They will when they come next time. This is the way it operates, right? Liberty means absence of restraint, absence, negative. Absence of something means negative. In the negative sense, it's like absence of any kind of restrictions. Then I was asking you, if there is no absence of restraint, what will you do? You'll say that I will make use of the opportunities to the fullest possible extent. Fine. Definitely in that running race, the person B who is coming from that geographically isolated area, no human agency did restrict him. There was no any unfair practice in the running race. Right? No any unnecessary practice in the running race. And also the person who succeeded, he comes from a family, they are rich, they are in the city. But it's like their ancestors. They also came from rural area, they worked hard, they succeeded, they settled down there. They feel like, okay, what is wrong with that? But was it a fair competition? People may argue, some section, positive liberals may argue, yes, it was a fair competition. Definitely inside that ground, it was a very fair competition. The procedures were clearly met, nothing wrong. Everyone was free. We need to accept that outside the ground, feel like had this person be trained a bit more, we never had any choice there. Had the state intervened to develop his capacity, the competition could have been, much close, much better. And also it's possible that there will be many people who have the passion, they may equate it as a kind of daydream. We have that human capital, that's as a nation. Why can't we make use of all of them? That's good for the nation as well. That's good for the society as well. Just the analogy of that running race, there will be a lot of scientists, there will be a lot of entrepreneurs. Simple push if they are getting from the agency of state, it will be good for them, it will be good for all. It's quite possible. On paper, nobody did restrict them. But in reality, they were unable to grab the opportunity to the fullest extent. That is a state intervention, so that the opportunity can be used in a substantive way. Procedure nahi, procedure to banaya. Substantive means there shall be outcome. So state, should it merely act as a kind of referee or a security or a watchman, or some kind of assistance to the people who need a push? They have the passion, they have the talent, you give them a push. From where? Who can? How can the state give a push? What is state? State, going by the abstract, the definition, maybe you would have seen in NCRT or while studying polity, and once they asked it in prelims as well. Many a times we ignore, na, just like I say in optional as well. It's Charvaga, so I will write any answer. I am very good at it. Finally, they will be asking, examine Charvaga's theory of knowledge. You wrote 3 points each, you address the question, another person wrote 5 points. Both of them address the question. It's a competition. Nothing is easy, nothing is tough. Convert tough into easy bus. Likewise, state, definition of state. What will be the tendency? Polity japadoge tendency means we'll think about the questions on cabinet secretariat. किसी एक बार पूछा है, or those areas, vigilance commission, that area will have a natural tendency. They are seldom being asked. But what is the low hanging fruit? We forget. State definition. People were confused when the definition of state was being asked that year. Confused of state. Broadly, uh, India is a state. No? Don't say that a country. You would have started the preparation, I know. State means definition broadly. We are having a map. The people are there. There are governments at various levels. We are bound by the laws created by the government. ये तो ठीक है ना? Government can make any law. We are bound by the law. नहीं नहीं वो सब नहीं. Bro, everything comes under some institution. Map क्या है? Map means it represents territory. Whatever is shown in the map, it is our territory. In this territory, we are living. People, citizens. Territory, people. Who is ruling? Government is ruling. Some institutional mechanism. What is the government? Union government, state government, panchayat, district authority, everything. They are doing something. We are bound by that. If you are in a particular district, we need to abide by what the corporation or municipality is saying. And then we are following that. Who is creating what is right or what is wrong actually? In principle, law is the determining factor. Na? We have norms, we have rules, anything is there, but law is the determining. Bus, state means territory, people, government, power, sovereignty. Bus. Now when you come back, state. Suppose state feels like, you also feel na, that person shall be given, the person from that rural area shall given some sort of push. Okay. From where? How can the state give the push? State needs money. State is an abstract entity. It has government. This government, suppose it involves in redistribution. Let's say some kind of cess. Cess means for a particular purpose. Cess or a or kind of tax on the rich. Person A taking tax from the family of person A, they are creating infra in person's B's family in that area, then competition. Is it okay? Is it okay? This is actually positive liberty. It's like freedom. Absence of restriction, if you are simply defining, it may not result in real freedom. Real freedom comes when you are able to create capacity. Who can create the capacity? State, the role of state. State can create the capacity. Or even you see CSR. CSR means encouraging the corporates as well to, apart from the tax, voluntarily involve in something, right? This much of money you need to set aside earmark for some purpose. Encouraging. State is encouraging. State tax means not to encouraging. State is taking. This is actually the idea of positive liberty. Just think, I'll be back. Yeah, we will revisit them with something. So you got the idea. Now, broadly, we need to understand negative liberty, absence of restraint, shall be mostly identified with the strictly capitalist economy. See, nobody is discriminated in capitalism on the basis of birth. In fact, the notion of equality before law, as you are asking, well fits in with that notion. Nobody will be discriminated on the basis of birth. Capitalism in principle cannot endorse, apartheid or caste untouchability. In principle, it is against, definitely. Okay, there is no restriction. Everyone can take part in the race. Okay. But I will say the tenets. It's against, the extreme, the kind of the role of state shall be a kind of night watchman to ensure the security. State shall not intervene. State shall not intervene into the welfare measures. It's not like they are cruel. You think from the perspective of that person. You see, person A. See, out of your hard work, out of your talent, without cheating anyone, with your willpower, you are overcoming the adversary. You are becoming successful. Once you become successful, the state says that we need to do welfare or for others. Maybe the beneficiary will be much more lazier than you. I think na, तो होता है. So we'll see a thinker, Robert Nozick. He says that taxation is a kind of bonded labor. Progressive taxation is a kind of bonded labor. क्यों? Bonded labor में क्या होता है? You are working for the sake of another person without any benefit. यही है ना bonded labor में. You may be a billionaire, but when the state is taking, say, super rich tax, 50% of your income, state is telling that you are already having 500 crore with you. So 250 हमें दे दो. You are having more than enough. We want to ensure welfare. And another person who is having, physically and intellectually fit, but not ready to work, it's like मुझे दे दो. For him the benefit. This perspective. So ये भी तो bonded labor है. For whom you are working? You'll say that I am working for those people whom I don't know. Are you getting any benefit? No. This is a kind of bonded labor. See, many a times ये होता है कि the companies won't prefer to stay in some nation if tax level is pretty high. बहुत ज्यादा है. वो नहीं सोचते हैं ना. And employees also work in countries where taxation is low. Simple as that. So we will see that analysis. Got it ना? In that sense, liberty, इतना सोचना है कि if you are having no restriction, what you would have done. Don't try to differentiate between equality, liberty, and all. We'll see the interplay. Equality means absence of privilege, absence of discrimination, treating equals equally, unequals unequally, bus broader things. Liberty broadly understand individualistic, freedom, absence of restriction. If you don't have absence of restriction, why? I have to do a lot of things. That's the reason why I don't need unnecessary restrictions. Need to do a lot of things. I need to make use of the opportunities that I am having. If I need to make use of the opportunities, some people feel there shall be some kind of push. See, it's not like the state is going to take away the whole money and give to another person. Some level so that everyone can get due opportunity rather than on paper. That is the positive liberty. This much okay? No problem with that. Okay. Now the question is how much, let's say they are asking the person A. So somewhat I am convinced what you are saying. I will say that I'm already giving 10% of my income for security. That anyone will give for security. Imagine it as a kind of contract. State is saying that I am going to give you security. I will take 10% of your income from that. Fine. That is a contract, right? That is the contract. Kuch contract. यही होता है ना. When you sign a contract means यही होता है. You tell like we form a collectivism. I will give 10% so that यहाँ पे जो भी खर्चा जो चाहिए basic expenses it can be met. For security I will give. Initially he will tell I won't give for creating playground in that village. I won't give. बाद में after persuasion, but other person comes and tell like it's not fair. I am also a citizen. I signed the contract. You told that you give me liberty. Liberty is on paper, but I am not getting the opportunity. If I am given the opportunity, I can perform better than him. I am getting liberty on paper, not in action. Action में चाहिए. You tell है कि आपको सब कुछ दिया गया. You have been given the car. आपको गिफ्ट मिला किसी से. एंड टेल है कि सब कुछ मैं दे दूंगा, बट एक्सेप्ट फॉर द की नहीं दूंगा. मतलब आप अपने घर पे रख सकते हो, यू आर द ऑनर ऑफ इट, बट आप चला नहीं सकते. ओके, लाइकवाइज. तो स्टेट फील्स, हाँ, ये भी तो सही कह रहा है. You'll say that in the future, what will happen is like the people who are already rich, they will become more and more powerful. Sports persons will come from that zone only. Inequality will widen. No, it cannot. This much of inequality cannot be justified. Then the idea comes like equal shall be treated equally, unequals unequally. But person he will say that no, I won't give. That is a question. Why? Because I also suffered adversaries, my hard work. Now here, during my times, nobody was there. But in this generation, it's like you are telling you, give me that. Not fair. Okay. Charcha. Okay. Let's say state feels like ये नहीं चलेगा. We need to strike some middle ground. It's like okay, 12% bargaining. 10 नहीं, I will give you 12%. 2% you can allot for the building there. The other one will say 2% से कुछ नहीं होगा. I won't get that liberty. 10%. Right? You'll say that after signing a contract, both of them will feel I am not getting the due. Due means kya? Due means what I deserve actually. In principle, what I deserve, I am not getting. See, if the take is taking away 20% of his income, he will say that I am not getting the due. I need a 90%. I am getting only 80. Hey, Yogan, I am not getting the due. The other one feels like I am not getting the due because I am not getting that liberty. On paper only I am getting. As a tangible outcome, I cannot produce it. Right? That is the idea of justice. Justice means broadly इसे सोचना है कि principle, the principle for distribution. वो नहीं सोचना. Don't think about the justice in the uh, judiciary, crime and punishment. वो नहीं. Justice, the term justice we see in the preamble, right? Broadly, justice means it's about giving the due. Broadly definition अगर उसे पूछोगे, I will say that giving people their due, principles for people giving their due by reconciling conflicting claims. Everyone will have expectations. What should be the principle to ensure? Let's say in a running race, capitalism, you take games like tennis. आजकल मैं follow नहीं करता, but earlier means you see the top 2-3 seeds, first 2-3 seed ranks. Right from earlier days, we've been following. Our time of following will be different. So it's like, first seed, second seed, three, always the grand slams. अगर आप देखोगे तो you see in men's grand slam, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, earlier means Sampras. Everything is in their hands. Right? Women means the Williams sisters. Majority, I think, उनके यहाँ. And earlier there was someone known as Monica Seles, Steffi Graf. मतलब earlier. So it's like कुछ लोगों के हाथ में. So I felt like कि 32 people are coming for grand slams. क्यों आते हैं बाकी लोग? Why they are coming? Natural question कि Even the media also focuses on who is going to win. मतलब पूरा analysis है कि Nadal or Federer, Djokovic, बस nothing beyond. After that time मैं ज़्यादा follow नहीं किया. That's why I don't know much the names. Games, see, क्रिकेट भी देखो, मोनोपोली ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया ना, वो तो मानना पड़ेगा. इंडिया इज गुड बट ऑस्ट्रेलिया stands as a different level when it comes to cricket. Oh, somehow they are going to. देखा in 2023, you know, we were very sad when India lost the final. How composed, the team was, Australian team was. See the confidence with which Cummins was speaking. Yeah, oh, different level. Except for 1 or 2 years, they are dominating. So can we complain? Can we complain? Smaller teams are coming. They are unable to do any miracles. So what I am saying is, going by the analogy of running race, it is, we accept now, even we are trained to accept that whether it is going to four teams, we will say that Australia, India, England, South Africa, the game is, or New Zealand, the game is between them. What are others doing? Is there anything preventing them from winning the Grand Slam, winning the World Cup? But they are not winning this. Justified, no? In a competition running race, it is justified. So what I am trying to say is the principle of equality. Because of competition, if you say that inequality gets widened, just like in a competition running, like it's fair. It is just what is the principle in a market system? Competition. Have you heard the term invisible hand of market? Invisible hand of market means competition may key the one who are more talented, hardworking, they will rise. Others will miss out. Those who miss out, they have the freedom. Nobody is restricting them to rise up. Simply the example of running race can be given. Running race के जगह मैंने the things that we follow generally. Cricket, tennis, इसमें तो यही है. Fair, no? So this is the principle for justice. Competition, open competition is there. It is just according to capitalist. Negative liberal. But the other side we say, we could have had, you forget about the Grand Slams, tennis and cricket. Oh, dekho, the that example of running race. Person B coming from the same country, but other state, he also should be accommodated into a fair competition. There the principle will be like open competition. वो procedure जो बनाया, it may not be that just outside the ground we need to do something so that ये जो होता है ना, absence of restriction will be there, but the some condition shall be created by state intervention. That is just fine. और what about the principle competition ही नहीं चाहिए? Imagine that running race, in the analogy of running race, those medals, they are like the, let's say, different jobs in the country, the wealth in the country, resources in the country, oil, soil, land, जो भी कुछ है, factory. If you distribute or give it to people on the basis of running race, उससे अच्छा है कि यार end of the day why people are living वो तो पता नहीं, so somehow uh, doing some good job, doing activity, earning something, live in good health, make use of the opportunity. Bus. Why should we unnecessarily compete? Why can't just जो cooperatives का देखा है ना example? Why can't we people own together? Why shall there be competition for the possessions? Wealth of a nation, wealth of the nations. Running race जैसे नहीं है nation building or a society. Human beings are more cooperative than competitive. We can think like that as well. See, what I am trying to say is this is broadly the idea of socialism. Broadly. I'm not defining anything. It's like collectively owning something, as opposed to individualism, competition. I need this, I need that. We are a group. तो क्या होगा रनिंग रेस में? एवरीबडी विल कम. वर्ल्ड कप, this much cash award. Australia, India, England, everybody is coming. उसमें कि आफ्टर कंपटीशन होता है कि ऑलवेज ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज गोइंग टू विन, देन एट टाइम्स इंडिया इज गोइंग टू विन, देन सम अदर टाइम्स मान लो इंग्लैंड और न्यूजीलैंड इज गोइंग टू विन. यही होता है ना क्रिकेट, एटलीस्ट इन द लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स. ऑस्ट्रेलिया से तो डर लगता ही है. वी फील लाइक कि दे, अगर व्हेन दे वर प्लेइंग अफगानिस्तान ना, आई वाज ऑलवेज थिंकिंग कि यार ये आउट हो जाए बिफोर गेटिंग इनटू द सेमीफाइनल और फाइनल. उसके हाथ में मिल गया तो गया. आई डोंट नो, मतलब दैट्स द एक्सपीरियंस ना. It's not their fault. They are doing well. They have been doing well. So other teams always they come, Kenya, Zimbabwe, whoever is coming. They'll tell like, the economy will be like this much of wealth is there. Forget the competition. You just equate it with, the prize money means the wealth they are giving. Money they are giving. They come, हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि we will work together. We will build the stadium well. We will create jobs. Analogy won't work in this case. When it comes to nation building, say rather than competition, cooperation. They will say that a socialist will feel that competition is inherently unjust. Competition ही नहीं चाहिए. Games तो ठीक है. It's for entertainment. But when it comes to life, when it comes to jobs, that may be their principle, right? Or maybe we will say there shall be a balance. There shall be a balance. Something should be privately owned, something should be publicly owned. ये भी तो हम बोल सकते हैं. At some domain we can have competition, at some domain we cannot have. Getting na? That shall be the what is my discussion. People are demanding many things. People are demanding jobs. People are demanding the resources. People are demanding. The companies are demanding the spectrum. Right? Telecom companies are demanding the different things. They are the resources. Right? 10 lakh people are filling for 1,000 seats. Demand. What can the UPSC do? GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 option. Bas. Interview. That's we feel that is fair. But एक ये होता है ना, after the exam we feel like कि यार I didn't get enough on the paper that I wrote well. When I got more marks on the paper that I didn't write well, that we won't complain. Second one. There is no guarantee that most ethical person will be the topper in ethics. ऐसे नहीं है. ऐसे कोई गारंटी नहीं है. कभी कभी ऐसे होता है कि द मोस्ट एथिकल पर्सन, idealist, may speak like an idealist, write like an idealist. What will the interviewer feel? Like good, अच्छा है, बट यू डोंट बिलोंग हियर. आपको तो साधु बनना चाहिए. यू शुड बी इस फील्ड में. तो वो चीज, इट फॉर योर गुड. दे विल से दैट फॉर योर गुड आई एम गिविंग यू 100 आउट ऑफ 275. कहीं और जाके तुम अच्छा हो जाओ. So there is a question like, if we create, can we create that kind of principles, infallible principles or procedures where the outcome will also be just? Justice is about creating procedures to reconcile conflicting claims so that people feel they got the due. There are different principles of justice. And ये भी तो होता है कि can we have even that kind of principle, right? Getting now what did we say? Simply it's like equality. absence of unnecessary privilege, absence of discrimination, treating equals equally, unequals unequally, liberty, absence of restriction, availability of opportunity, justice, principle for distribution. Different kinds of principles are there. Capitalist will feel open competition is the fair principle. Maybe positive liberal will feel like competition is good, it is fair, but some kind of intervention for subsidies and all shall be there. If you are asking a strict socialist who believe competition itself is not fair, cooperation or collectivism is the fair process. No private ownership. Okay, so or maybe we feel like private and public competition and the collective possession shall coexist in some domains. And maybe we will get question like, can we create that kind of principle, infallible principle at all? Right? Or we need to reinvent the principles. This is justice that we are going to see through the theories of John Rawls, Amartya Sen. The problem here, you have felt the words. There is a term sovereignty. Some theories are there through Bodin, Austin, Kautilya. Sovereignty is just think about state, absolute power. Absolute power of the state. Sovereignty is the essence of state. How many sovereigns are there? Hmm? How many sovereigns are there? How many sovereigns are logically possible? How many substances were logically possible? Sovereign. Sovereign means supreme power. State, law. If there is a conflict between law of the state and, let's say, the rule created by a company, if you are an employee of that company, will follow that. No? You are bound to follow that. But if that rule and law are in conflict with each other, what will prevail? Law will prevail. Who created law? State created the law. The sovereign state. But practically and ethically, when we think, if state is given the, but many a times state won't intervene into, let's say, some religious law. That may be out of pragmatic politics or something else, or the state won't be intervening into even the monarchies. If you see the case of Indian ancient and medieval Indian history, even during the time of Guptas, there were Shrenis or merchant guild, somewhat equivalent to union of the merchants during the time of Chola monarchs, Gupta monarchs. They were the and they had their own autonomy, just like the trade unions in the present day. State never intervened into it, despite being monarch. So, due to some reason, practical reason or something else, it seems divided at times. State may not intervene into religious law many a times. State will be bound by the, in USA, lobbying. In fact, sovereign means if it is absolute power, state is not intervening into many of them. Anyhow, our discussion in that topic will be from the perspective of some thinkers, what is sovereignty, what they mean by that. Largely, for your understanding, one among the components in the definition of state, complete authority of state to create laws. Internal state is never bound by internal as well as external factors. But practically, we see at times the sovereignty seems divided. At times, we will analyze that. It seems to be pluralistic. When state will say that I won't intervene into the trade, I won't intervene into the civil society, I won't intervene into the religion. Bold sector. So mostly, whether it is monistic or pluralistic, few thinkers are there, we will analyze. But state sovereignty means what? Power of the state on internal as well as external. We are free. We are free not to join any international organization. We are free to join. It's our choice. Right? When Trump is the US president, We know what sovereignty is always, कि मतलब कुछ भी बोल दिया एंड कुछ भी कर दिया बस, इसके लिए कि आई एम मूविंग आउट ऑफ दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन WHO, बस हो गया. एंड नॉर्थ कोरिया, फाइन. एंड there is a topic, individual state relation. Do you like state or not? Organization on a state. This is not a public platform. Okay, do we have it? See, just think, if you were given a choice, ऐसे सोचना चाहिए. Because state creates laws, no? Neither, not ethically. From your perspective, at times you would have felt like this law, right? Restriction. You cannot go here. You cannot go there. After 10 p.m. there is curfew. बाहर नहीं जाना है. You may feel, no? Or had we been living in the time of emergency? Yeah, lockdown तो we know, but lockdown means कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं. But on the other side, had we been living in the time of emergency, restriction के टाइम में लगे कि यार नहीं चाहिए था ये. Hmm. Or maybe we will say like, or, but on the other side, if you feel, chalo, state is not intervening, not creating any curfew wala thing. It's not creating. But why the state is doing that? Maybe the case is that, yeah, after 10, there are many activities. मतलब, some crime, possibilities of crime. State is doing enough, but it's not having enough police personnel to deal with that. So how can public cooperate? By not going outside. इतना नहीं समझा सकते. रूल बना, लॉ बना दिया बस. Every time, rather than justifying something, ये भी होता है. If you are asking a capitalist, what will we say? Negative liberal. He will say that state, ठीक है. Okay. To what extent? To that extent that it is conducting a fair, it is ensuring security. But after that, security, once somebody starts giving you security, if they keep bargaining in the future, I need more than 10, I need 15, I need 20, I need 30. होता है. More money, more fund. If there is collusion between people, corruption का chance भी बनता है. In the name of welfare, वो भी तो होता है ना. If you are having, मतलब only security means, why should a person be in, वो सोचेगा कि मैं क्यों, why should be in public life? Create that kind of law so that I can deal with more funds. Do welfare, populism, along with that a bit of corruption, वो सोचेगा. I'm not justifying, their thought will be like that. But a capitalist will be thinking कि once you give the freedom, they will start intervening into a lot of things. They'll say that, okay, they are intervening. चलो सुनना पड़ता है. They are, state is an evil, but it's better that it's there. Because they will, at least they will ensure that security. Right? There is no anarchy. Okay. So negative liberals believe that state is a necessary evil. Okay. Different perspectives, I am saying. There are anarchists. Anarchism means not always it should be understood in the wrong sense. Even Mahatma Gandhi was treated as a political anarchist. We will see that. Anarchist means who is against the idea of state. Perhaps if you are living in in the colonial era and you witnessed the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and the context of that Jallianwala Bagh massacre was actually some the laws like the Rowlatt Act, they have been created to restrict the freedom. 144 traces the origin to that time. So that context, and also the salt law means a basic ingredient according to Mahatma Gandhi. After air, the basic ingredient, you are taxing that. A basic necessity, you are taxing that. Who is creating? When say that ethics is decided by law, will you admit it? Will you support it if ethics is decided by law in that context? Now, and on just a minute. Okay, in that era, we will say that no. Or during the time of World War, Britain, they had a parliamentary form of government. They took part in the World War. France participated in the World War. State, in the name of nationalism, is pushing their own citizens to take part. They have their own justification, but maybe at least some people feel, see, this war is unnecessary, but we are unnecessarily, we are being forced into it. Right? Many a times the term crony capitalism. Suna hai na? Crony capitalism. Crony capitalism means it's a kind of nexus, a kind of collusion between the rich corporates and the state. But like they fund for election, and in return, they give the benefits in business. This is a criticism that generally comes. When we reach Marxism, they will say that state is an unnecessary evil. Marxism, anarchism, those ideologies say state is an unnecessary evil. Even without that, people can cooperate, associate. Marxism goes on to the extent of saying that state is a class instrument to safeguard the interest of capitalists. Crux ये होता है कि let's say the capitalist means Marxism was totally against the notion of private property. Capitalism believed in private property, individual property, competition, free market. Marxism roughly, not exactly, roughly, the scenario was like that. When you go, they will say that the analogy of the competition itself is wrong. Running race or cricket itself is wrong. They will say that वो तो चलो game है. Here means everything needs to be collectively owned. There shall not be any kind of private property. Why? If there is private property, when there is an institution known as state, security, state is ensuring security. Suppose you own a person is owning a factory. Imagine there are 100 workers there. Few people owning land, factory, many people are workers. That is capitalism. In principle, they are also free to create factories, the workers. But Yogaki, let's say the factory owner is getting 100 rupees as profit, 100 units of money as profit. He is giving the the the, the workers wages. One मतलब उससे जो है 99 is keeping one उसको दे दिया simply because he is earning the factory. If they are asking means तुम चले जाओ. Very less. They are not getting. Who is creating the value in that? The workers are adding lot of value in converting the raw materials into deliverables. They are not getting the due simply because they are not owning it. Private property. You'll see that in detail then. So, what will they do? Their choices are that initially they will go and ask. They may ask the owner. If the factory owner feels like here they should not unite, oh derby hota, they will be afraid. So they will say that instead of 1 rupee, I will give you 2 rupees. For the time being, he is happy. The laborer is happy. But is other one is appropriating his hard work in the name of profit, right? The surplus value that is being created in the name of profit. Okay. क्यों दिया? He has given him this money simply because they shall not revolt. एक साथ resign न कर दें, that will be the thought. And maybe even if they feel like revolting, they will like, I will give you counseling. At times बोलता है कि when they feel stressed, the factory owner is saying, I will give you Sunday evening counseling, entertainment, games, and in between, let's say is bringing in a religious person, and religious person है बोलता है कि the more struggles you are having in the life, the more closer you are to God. Good times will come tomorrow. The person who is under stress, उसको वो जब ये सुनता है ना, you will feel okay, good times are going to come. I am suffering. He is able to relate. The state, the entrepreneur is using different methodologies. Initially, like कुछ दे दिया, थोड़ा बहुत दे दिया. Still, he feels suffering. Gave advices of peace and future life. ठीक है. Still, these people at times when they unite and they let's say they are going to whom they can go. मतलब है कि they are not satisfied. They are not giving. They may let's say कि don't revolt, we are not having any weapon or something, अपना पास तो कुछ नहीं है. Who is having the weapon? Weapon is with the police. Weapon is with the military. Why? For security, capitalist is giving tax 10%, it is being possessed. Suppose they are coming in a revolt against the capitalist for not giving, like by law you are part of it. You are saying that you are free to join some other factory, but हर जगह ये स्थिति. If they are destroying any machine in anger, they can be put into jail. Fine. Okay. If they are going to the court also is created by the capitalist na? In state. Let's say the election में अगर किसी को वोट किया, even if it may be a democracy, who is going to succeed? There can be an excess between the one is going to succeed and the capitalist class. Quite possible. I am not saying it will happen. Quite possible. Yeah, capitalist economy. See, not even capitalist economy. You understand from capitalist economic perspective. I'm just saying, state में ऐसे होता है. And you just think when there is private property, just think like that. When there is private property, not even complete, some private property. These are the consequences. Like, no way. What can they do? What can the workers do if their life want to be better? Batao. They are not having weapon. If you go to the state will say that uh, according to law, you are free to leave, move out of that contract. No issue with that. If you are into protest, it is against the law. If you are going to protest, that is against the law. You cannot destroy any kind of infrastructure. occasional counseling के लिए you see the entrepreneur is giving you know बीच में playground जो भी हो they are giving, and on Sunday you are getting motivational sessions. And motivation session में बोलता है कि your future life will be very good. What needs to be changed there in that situation? I am not justifying anything. I am justifying everything बस. Till now पता है ना, we have been justifying everything and we have been criticizing everything. कोई middle path है क्या इसमें? Because they are having the power, they are having the weapons. So in this context, we will see Karl Marx is saying that state is a kind of class instrument which is meant to ensure the domination of the capitalist class, or some terms we will see bourgeois over the proletariat. So unnecessary evil. When we live in a colonial era, or when we live in not even capitalistic state, any state, Marx envisages a kind of stateless society. Even you see the Naxalist ideology means when they, not now, earlier means when they used to capture some instances where that district collectors, because they represent the state agency. मतलब harm नहीं किया, but एक state representing the state, destroying the telecom system, destroying the railway. Why? Because it's like state is existing. They will cite like the 1% of the people are holding 90% of the wealth. 10% is holding the 99%. And they are capable of controlling everything. Ordinary people, they cast the vote and they feel like they are participating in the process. Right? So Marxian thought will be like where there is state, this kind of state, where there is private property, they say that it is meant to safeguard the institution of private property, only all these exist. We'll see there actually. Even family is being understood by some people as मतलब है कि दूसरा किसी के हाथ में ना चला जाए. You are having private property, you are having this much of wealth. Who will, वो किसको दोगे? Will give to next generation, not to people. Na? So next generation means it is possible through family. So private property. So you say what I was trying to say is some people will say state is a necessary evil, negative liberal. Some people say state is an unnecessary evil. State is meant to ensure the interest of capitalist class. Or in the name of democracy, the colonial government, as a kind of white man's burden, the colonial people, they tried to create that kind of laws to economically exploit different nations. Anarchism, Marxism, this position. But in Indian context, you see how we will understand. We treat state as positive thing only, right? State is a positive good. State create laws. Whatever restrictions created by laws, in principle, you see, they are meant to ensure security. State, progressive taxation, indirect taxes, welfare schemes, they are meant for the public welfare state. State is a positive good. We are given rights with reasonable restriction. We are having freedom of speech and expression, but again with restrictions. We need to do duties, but the position of rights, entitlement, is a notch ahead in comparison with the duties. We have elements of what you call as liberal democracy, some element of popularly, what was popularly known as socialism, this blend, the blend of democracy and socialism, or freedom, individualism and collectivism, we can see. Okay, we'll see them. So individual state relation will be studying rights, duties and all. You got the background. No? Individual state means state is a unnecessary evil. Some people say necessary evil, positive good. हमें evil कभी नहीं कहना है. Because law is treated as something which is good. Right? In polity, they earlier asked a question about liberty in Indian context. It's, liberty means positive liberty. Law means restriction means it's meant for good. Law or some welfare schemes, subsidies you need to pay, cess you need to pay, that also for collective good, welfare of the people, right? After that, we will see forms of government, rights, duties, and all. In between, I will discuss the ideas like social contract. Social contract means we the people, वो तो contract है. Preamble में जो लिखा है ना, that is a contract. One kind of contract. Contract is possible in monarchy as well. People are creating something, institution on a state. They are ready to surrender something, but they need to get something in lieu. That's it, in return. Forms of government, mostly democracy, monarchy, theocracy. We will critically analyze. It's not like we will be always supporting democracy. There are solid criticisms for democracy. Theocracy means rule on the basis of any particular religion or scripture. There, it will have some interlinkages with which topic in philosophy of religion. Theocracy, when we discuss उसका criticisms किससे connected होगा? Religion and morality, religious conflicts. Na? There is a possibility, na? Rule on the basis of religion. Monarchy. Do you remember philosopher king? Monarchy, is it inherently bad? There have been good monarchs na, in the history. Who should rule? Is it should be based on the number or the person who has got that aptitude? Who should be the ruler? Now you will say it's the aptitude. Since I have asked like this, else we will say it is democracy. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, they had extended some serious criticisms against democracy. Serious criticisms in the then Athens. There were demagogues. Demagogues means jo acha, people who can influence others. आजकल है ना social media influencers. Earlier days means demagogues. उसको मतलब demagogues कैसे कि तुम कुछ पैसा दो, they will create narrations. बस when people are swayed or being affected by narrations, they won't think on the basis of reason, on the basis of emotion only. Oh, sorry, they won't think on the basis of reason. You remember Plato was saying that reason, he always gave priority to reason, whether in epistemology, whether in ethics, यही reason है. So there we will see criticisms, we will see types of democracy, right? This much is okay, na? I introduced the term equality, absence of privilege, absence of discrimination, treating equals equally, unequals unequally, liberty, absence of restraint, availability of opportunity, justice, principle for distribution. We will see different principles. Sovereignty, authority of state, largely monistic. At times we will see it as pluralistic. Individual state relation. State is a necessary evil, state is an unnecessary evil, state is a positive good, then types of government will be there. इतना ठीक है ना? Next class, mostly in the first half or something, I will touch the syllabus, the terms like this, then we will start the discussion. Okay.